ready to dine this evening.
How y'all
I've got
doing?
a green napkin this week. You?
A drink napkin?
I said a green napkin this week.
Oh, a green napkin. I have black.
Yeah. Oh no, I've learned to wear black clothing on the night of the podcast after I think we had a mishap a couple months ago where I basically had to throw a white shirt out.
Yeah.
I think we had something tomatoey and it just I just threw the shirt out.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. You don't want to toss a perfectly good shirt, you know.
Shirts are shirts, so I just wear black ones from now on for the
There you
podcast, or dark ones may be the case. But anyway, episode 92. Can you believe we're at 92 episodes doing this?
Well, it's exciting.
We're just 8 short of our grand 100 episode, which we have a great fun thing to do. All right. Tonight, we pulled an idea out of the hat last week, and it's called, it's an old fashioned, but it's a rum old fashioned.
Yep.
Now, I actually went through my refrigerator. I actually had one of these left, and I noticed the way it's done. It wasn't closed and sealed all the way, but I have one sphere.
I have my big ice cube in the fridge. Maybe I'll decide to go grab it because that's always the fun part of an old fashioned is having a big cube.
Well, yeah, I have the squares, but I had one sphere left, and I'm like, I'm going to do the sphere. But whoever made them didn't close it up all the way, so it has a ring around it.
Ah, it's okay.
All right, somebody put a ring on it, not me.
I was gonna say, well, you know what? Sometimes you got to put a ring on it.
Got to put a ring on it, I guess, huh? But I mean, you've got a great handout you made this week for the actual drink that we were going to do, and that is it's called a rum old fashioned. And did you do any history research on this, or?
Of course I did, because that's me.
That's what you do.
That's kind of one of my fun things is, so a part of this group where it's each person, we have our own code that tells us who we are and why we're that way. Well, not so much why we're that way. I mean, that's genetics. But when we understand who we are and why we do certain things, certain quirks, as some might call it, and then you look at that code, for me, education, knowledge, logic, that's huge for me. And so that's why for me, I get excited when it's like, ooh, I get to research this. Whereas somebody else that's in action, they're like, go, what? No. And then you have those that are blueprints that are, give me all the details. Everything has to be ducks in a row. And then you have those that are the nurturing, the lovey-dovey ones, which that's like my least strength on that. So yes, so that is me very much about wanting to understand and research. So there's a whole gastronomy when it comes to rum. And as I'm like going, oh my goodness, usually when you think of some gastronomy, you think of food, not so much drinks, but it's that food pairing with rum and then creating this harmonious combination that enhances the food. And there are so many different types of rums. So that's the beauty of the rum is that it's, you got your light rums, you got your spiced rums, you got your dark rums, you have your flavored rums, and each rum will taste differently based on what you're eating. So if you're going to be eating like seafood, then a lighter rum will be good with that. But if you're going to be doing some Cajun food or something spicy or red meat, then something darker will work out well. If you're having some kind of dessert or you just want to sprinkle something on top of ice cream, guess what? Then a flavored rum will go well with that. Like a coconut, you got the pineapple and the coconut, and you put some lime in there and it makes it delicious. But when it comes to the history of the rum cocktail, well, we all know about the old fashioned, but the rum old fashioned has undergone a lot of variations. The recipes have changed, and we'll probably not follow the recipe to its T because that's what we do. We make it our own, but the bartenders might use different rums. So if you go to one restaurant, they may use one rum, but you go to another one that's a different type of rum, not just the brand, but the type of spiced, dark, light. Some of them even will add ginger beer or cinnamon syrup to the actual cocktail to give it some more flavor. Uh, and when it comes to the foods, well, it all depends. Again, it's the versatility. Like your lighter rums, because it's a lot smoother. You want something refreshing, something seafood esque. Even with the light rum, the fruit yours, with or without chocolate, something very different that goes well with rum. And then you have the darker rums with that thickness. They're more robust, flavorful. So your chicken spice goes well with the spiced rum old fashioned. So today we're going to do a rum old fashioned, but we're not going to do a spice. If I had my,
I am.
Oh, you do have a spice run?
I have spiced rum. That's all I had. It was spiced. Our white rum. So I'm going white spiced.
I thought you were doing yours dark. Okay.
No.
But then braised pork with the dark rum goes well. And then, of course, your pineapple upside down cake with the coconut rum. Oh, that sounds absolutely delicious. Chocolate truffles with spiced rum with orange zest. I thought that was delicious. And I was even reading, figs and apricots go very well. And then aged Gouda. I was looking at Gouda. I did not get Gouda, but that could be with that richer, not completely dark, but not your completely light rums. Your aged rums would go well with that. So overall, it's the exploration and the discovery of your rums with your flavors. What do you like? What goes well? And then experimenting with the different rums. And, like if you're having a pina colada, you want like a coconut rum. But if you're having like today, an old fashioned, it could be an old fashioned or a spiced old fashioned. For foods, what do you have for foods that you brought, Tim?
With my mouth full.
I know, I'm so rude. I almost
have these soft pretzel sticks, first of all, because they're good bread.
Nice.
A little bit of salt going on them.
Always.
Yep. On the sweet side, I have my caramel popcorn.
Oh, yum.
All right. A little more of the savory. I do have some variations of cheese. I have cheddar and Colby Jack.
Oh, it's Colby Jack. Sounds yummy. Keep it up. I'm going to get a picture there.
Yep. So the Colby Jack, and then I had just a few like crackers left without. I had saltines. I didn't want to use saltines for this.
Right.
But something I always have in the house that I love to have is these goldfish cheddar crackers.
Oh, yes. I love goldfish. They're so yummy.
And then, of course, you know what I mean? Just before we went live on the air, Gladys said that her liquor store gave her some chocolate. So I went in and got me some of these, Lindor.
Oh, yeah.
Truffle ball.
Yes.
So, and of course, because I have an orange for my old fashioned, I have a piece of orange sitting here as well.
Okay. Perfect. Oh, yeah. I got my orange over here. I went into one of the local jewelry stores here because I wanted to get a watch for my travel before I left. And I went to Kroger and there was like nobody there, all these customers waiting. And I said, is there anybody there? They're like, oh, they're in the back. And I'm like, I'm not waiting. I'm like, and my first thought was go to the jewelry store and I didn't. And I ended up going there. They were less expensive on my battery by $5 and they gave me really good chocolate. I was like, oh, indulging in the chocolate. And then, of course, they said, oh, you come in for a battery and you're going to leave with a diamond. I said, that's not my job. That's Sean's responsibility. So what I have is that I got the pretzel. Mm-hmm. I was going to go to Red Robin. I did not end up at Red Robin because my schedule's been a little crazy because I got in today and then having to work and prep for everything. But I got the pretzel and then I got the stone ground mustard.
Yep, me too.
I have to thank Aru at the Safeway because when I said I need something, I knew I couldn't do like a jerk chicken, but I wanted something spicy. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they have like a buffalo cheese or a buffalo ham. Well, he says, well, we have a spicy peppered ham. So I went with that. So thank you, Aru. Then I have this is a different one. This is a truly grass-fed, a natural sharp, bold and creamy. They had a sweet and creamy. I wanted bold because I was having the darker rum. I wanted this. And then, of course, I have some spicy Fritos here. And then, of course, my chocolate from Stafford Liquor. So thank you very much, guys. And then, of course, also because I went in there and I was trying to figure out what rum. And he's going through and I was like, Plantation was one that I almost got. But then I'd forgotten about Diplomatico. And I said, oh, I got the light one. He goes, well, if you like that, he goes, just get this one because it's, you can't go wrong with what you know and already like. So just get it something different. So I will have to try plantation, but for this time I wanted to go with Diplomatico. And I'm going to look because I might have a small of a Kraken, which is the spice. And if I do, if it's in here and it doesn't look like I have
in the meantime, I've made mine up here a little bit, got nice and stirred up with the spice. I used the orange bitters this time in mine. My typical, of course, I have my sphere cube,
right?
My twist of orange. I have, of course, I put a little bit of cherries in there. Got to have some. I put 2 in mine, 2 maraschino cherries. I used simple syrup for my sweetener sauce this time instead of a sugar. All right. I was going to do you remember the episode where we did and I had the maple?
Yes.
I almost was going to do that with the dark rum and with the spiced rum. I thought, man, nah, I think I'm twisting too many different corners on the recipe. And I'll never be able to get back to it if I don't. So
no, very cool. Well, yeah, there's a couple of different ways. Oh, this is giving me trouble here. Different ways that you can make your recipe. So that's the beauty of a Rum Old Fashioned is that there's a lot that you can do with it. So you can go the route of the dark rum.
Yeah.
So 1.5 ounces of dark rum, your sugar syrup or simple syrup or sugar cube. You can do orange bitters, which I have, or Angostura bitters. Mm-hmm. So you can decide which one of the two. Sometimes I do both. And then your orange peel. You can also do 2 ounces of your favorite rum, which is essentially whichever rum you want. The Angostura bitters, the sugar cube, the orange slice, and a cherry and ice. So it just depends on which direction, what's grabbing you, what you're in the mood for. Sometimes truly it's what you are in the mood for. The other day I got vodka and I was like, I was not in the mood for vodka. And I was like, when I took a sip and I'm like, this doesn't taste that great. So I had to change it up. So you can either shake so one of the recommendations is that you pour it into one glass and then put it into the glass you're going to drink it in. I have my shaker, so I think I'll just use my shaker because it's just easier. And then I'll pour it into my glass.
I did notice you can do shaker on this or stir.
Right.
And I went stir because to me, an old fashioned is somebody who can stir it up.
Right.
And
the stirring is to get it cold. That's the main thing of the stirring. It's to really get it cold in. And if you're doing it in a glass, stir it until the glass is cold. So as you're stirring, you're going to feel the glass. And once it's cold, but you also need a strainer to then pour it into your other glass. And like Tim did, a big ice cube, which I have in the freezer. But I'm going to.
I did notice the recipe that I forget which website we got it. Was it BBC Foods or something? Which recipe we got that from?
Yeah, BBC Foods. Thank you so much. Actually, it's BBC Good Food.
BBC Good Foods. All right. They actually said 3 ice cubes in theirs. Did you notice that?
Really, they said 3. They're sometimes, very specific. Very specific.
Add 3 ice cubes and stir slowly with a mixing spoon.
Yes, until. And the other thing that they also said is only put half the rum, mix it, and then when you pour it into the other, then you pour it in. So once you're done mixing, so that was quite interesting. I really appreciated that. Giving that direction. So I'm going to go here with and I don't know if I'm going to pay attention to them, but I will on this one, doing the half.
I went with the spiced rum. That really gives a really nice, really nice twist. So far, everything I've eaten it with goes well.
Well, we did think of y'all. We actually did keep an eye on, and we said, what is it that we want to put with it? So it's not like we just kind of randomly decided, it was, we did think about this one last week and it wasn't a very specific, and then you can decide. So did you put in any of the cherry juice or the cherry in there? Because this particular one did not call for cherry. So that's the other thing, is that sometimes some recipes don't call for certain things. So
not only did I put cherry, I put 2 cherries in. But I was soaking the cherries in the juice before I put them in.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
I don't add the juice. In other words, I just heavily make sure my cherries are really soaked in the juice before I pick them up and put them in.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Which means some juice got in the drink, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. And the other cool thing to keep in mind is with the orange zest or the orange peel, is that what you want to do is once you have your drink, you squeeze it in there and then you rub the rim, because it's just the oils from the orange, which is really good. I think I have, let's see what that, I'm going to taste it before I even throw it in there. Oh, yum.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's not even all I still am missing a little bit of the.
Well, I'll bet you never guess everything I've said. What is the best thing to taste with it?
Chocolate.
Chocolate, ladies and gentlemen. We have a winner.
Nice. Well, I'm doing it without my big cube, but that's okay. I'm still gonna dress it up with, again, even if you don't see it, it's there, and you will notice some bartenders.
Yeah, please don't revert back to episode, what was that, 87, where we said, it's not an old fashioned if it doesn't have a big cube.
Right.
Yeah. We did say that on a most recent podcast.
You know what? I'm missing my big cube. I should probably go get it. So while I do that, you know what? I should probably get a picture of this before I go anywhere else. One of the things that's important, and I think we've talked about it before, when you are working with whatever it is, make sure you close it. Because sometimes what will happen is you turn around and you end up dropping something and you make a mess, and that's no fun. You make a mess of the kitchen. But
everything. Of course, I'm doing it from my desk, and I think you are too. Whereas we're not in our kitchens, ladies and gentlemen. We actually have paperwork to do on these desks, probably an hour after the podcast tonight.
So we have to clean it. I'm going to go get my cube because now
you're going to get cube. I'm going to say, guys, I've had this with everything, and the chocolate is the best thing that this goes with tonight. The caramel corn has to be my second favorite, but those are both on the sweet side. The pretzel, actually, of course, the bread. You can't go wrong with bread. Come on, it's a pretzel, right? It goes with everything. But I'm glad I did it with the spiced rum. I almost thought like I was tasting cinnamon, but I'm not. It's the spice that's in the spiced rum, and I used Captain Morgan's spiced rum. And mine tonight is good. So I did mine exactly like she said in the recipe. I put my rum in. I added my sugar. All right. I stirred it at that point until my glass was cold. Then I added my orange bitters. I added a little bit more rum. All right. And it was then I threw the cherry and the orange peel in.
Yeah, my cube was a little too big to go in the right way, so it's standing up. But here's my.
Okay, that is the thing with the square cube. It's why I was glad I had a round one, because that is the thing with a square cube when making an old fashioned. The square cube, sometimes depending on the cup you get and the spoon you have, it is an impossible stir to get the cube to go around. Just saying.
Exactly.
Bartender's problems, ladies and gentlemen.
I know, right? I love that. I'm trying to get a good picture of the old fashioned with the diplomatico in the back. I like that. And you're in it. Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, this looks much better now. That's
I'll bet you. What's your taste like?
Oh, yum. That is very delicious. I don't know that I want to add the cherry to it. I think with yours, because you had the spiced, that made perfect sense. With me, I'm not using the spice. So I'm just using the dark.
I also did not use any of my spiked cherries, which I do have spiked cherries. I just did regular maraschino cherries. Regular Kroger brand is what I had tonight. So
it's exactly what I have.
Can you tell we both shop at Kroger a lot?
I don't know. I think Kroger should sponsor us.
You would think.
Right?
I'll bet I got more mentions on this show than anybody else.
No kidding. We do. And I decided to go with the ground mustard. Mind you, it took me many years before I started liking mustard. I would cook with it, but I wouldn't eat it. But I have learned to really enjoy mustard. This is a ground from Dietz and Watson.
You can't have, all right, no. Regular, I know people who have like the Dijon mustard on their pretzels. No. Stone ground mustard for a pretzel.
And the ham, the peppered ham is also Dietz and Watson.
Is it?
So, yeah. So I went all foo-foo this time.
The only thing that we thought about doing, like, my mom makes one heck has a great recipe for the popcorn. Gwen found me some organic some at the store this week. Rather than have mom, because mom would have spent half an afternoon making it.
Oh, right. Well,
when you make caramel popcorn, you do not make just a little dish of it.
Oh, no.
You make a couple trays of it.
Exactly. Well, I was at the Verdara in Vegas during my mastermind, and we came out with a little break, and they had these little containers with 3 different types of the caramel corn. So they had your regular caramel corn, then they had the one with chocolate, and then they had the mixed one that had a little bit of everything. That one was so good. That's the one I got. And then they had the sparkling wines for us to choose from. So they had a Prosecco. They had the St. Michel here from Oregon State. That was the Brut. And then they had a rosé. And of course, I had to go with the St. Michel because I'm like, I know I like this. They did really well at taking care of us. But I had some leftover caramel corn. And I'm like, I had no more room in my bag, so it was like, I better eat it. Otherwise, it's going to stay there. Well, this sharp cheddar, and it's a natural sharp.
Yeah.
And these are Irish grass-fed cows. So this is from Ireland. So this cheese is from Ireland.
So did the cows have an Irish accent, or?
I think so. If I start mooing in Irish, you know that the with an Irish accent.
I want to know what the difference is. But now that you say that on our show, I want to know the difference between an Irish cow and an American cow. Murr or moo? Which one is it? Now, yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, we can go down that road a bad.
I was going to say the silliness we come up with.
Yep.
Well, both my pretzel with the stone ground mustard, as well as my sharp cheddar with the peppered ham, both taste really well with the Rum Old Fashioned.
See, I'm glad I was saying just before you came back I feel like there's cinnamon in this. There's not. And the spice might have the spice, but I feel like I've added some cinnamon to the drink. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which cinnamon nutmeg combination almost, and that's the spice.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, the spice you're going to have some cardamom in there, maybe some turmeric, some cinnamon, some nutmeg.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they get all their spices from.
It's gonna come on a combination, and probably the more I drink it, the more I'm gonna get more others. But I taste now the cinnamon and the nutmeg, and that was after having the food with it. So,
well, I was looking at these chocolates, and then they were like, "Oh, well, here. Oh, you're gonna do chocolate? Well, here you go." And they gave me the heart, and they said, "Well, if you like it, then you have to come back and get the other chocolate." I was like, "Got you." But I was not about to taste it there because I wanted my whole chocolate, and it is dark chocolate. So I like savory over sweet, so I will try it now, and then I'm gonna go back to my savory.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's a filling in it too.
Well, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick one. Now that my cherries have been sitting in there, I'm going to pick one out and eat just the cherry.
Oh, wow. So with the chocolate, it's almost like this spiciness comes out of the rum.
Yeah.
This is not a spiced rum, but those notes come out.
Our rum is a sugary alcohol, so it's going to give you the extra sweet. That's why I think chocolate is a good accent for it.
That is very yummy. I was not expecting that because it's like going unexpected chocolate and rum. When I was looking at the pretzel, I'm like, doesn't Costco have pretzel? They used to once upon a time.
They didn't. I was looking at something else at Costco this weekend while I was there. I can't remember what.
Well, they're hot dogs.
Pretzels because I looked.
Yeah. No, they stopped years ago. They used to be able to get a cinnamon pretzel or a regular pretzel. And I know I've gotten pretzels. I looked it up. I just didn't have the time to go in. And I said once upon a time. Their hot dogs changed. So what they used to have now, it's a different one. And they still have the churros, I think. And then the chicken wrap or whatever it is. I've never, or the calzone, chicken calzone. I've never had that. Usually if I'm getting something there, it's the hot dog. And then of course get in the car and Maverick's giving me his eyes and it's like, fine, I'll share. So I share the hot dog with the boy.
We did get, while we were at Costco though, with all the kids being here this weekend, we got the big batch of hot dogs to make it here at home. And my brother Nate's kids, they don't eat pork, so I had to make sure they were beef hot dogs. I want to tell you, the hot dogs, Costco hot dogs are really, really good because it's Costco brand that we got and they're in our freezer.
Okay.
And a ton of them, a ton of hamburgers, that's what we got to have right here, kids. And I think they're all out there having hamburgers right now while we're doing the show here. But anyway, so good drink, bad drink. Would you much rather wait a minute now, let's compare. Would you rather have it with bourbon or with rum?
Well, like my bourbon old fashioned, I prefer my rye old fashioned. There is dark bourbon. Basil Hayden has a dark bourbon.
Yes, I've had that one. Yep.
Absolutely delicious in old fashioned. It's like when I saw it, I was like, oh, do you have they're like, yeah. So they made was Bricks in Bricks Tavern or Brickyard in Vancouver. They made me an old fashioned with the dark Basil Hayden. So now when I go there, that's what I order. Love it. This is absolutely delicious. I really liked it with this dark rum. My traditional old fashioned is, the bourbon old fashioned is still going to be my favorite. This absolutely, it impressed me. It really did.
It is good, but I'm going to tell you guys. All right, still remember that maple one we did. Oh gosh, it's been more than a year ago. We've had that on the podcast, right? The maple bourbon. Yeah. To me, that maple bourbon old fashioned is still my favorite old fashioned I've ever done. I've had
a smoked one. I've had maple. It's delicious. There's just something about an old fashioned that I don't know if it's the combination, if it's the citrus in it, if it's the bitters, having that beautiful cherry in there because they usually have foo-foo cherries, which I normally have. I think I'm out because all I saw in my fridge was this, so I grabbed it. And for this particular drink, I didn't think I needed it.
Yeah.
For yours, having the spice, I think was fine. With mine, I don't know if I want to. It's because I usually will add a little bit of cherry juice to my old fashioned if I'm making it, and then throw a cherry in there. So that's what I do sometimes. But you got to play with it. What do you enjoy? What do you like? What just flows? What are you in the mood for? That's the thing. What are you in the mood for?
This weekend we went to a Mavericks game. And down here at the Dallas Mavericks at the American Airlines Center where the Mavericks play, I used to have a Jack Daniels bar. Well, they got rid of it, and it is now a Patron bar.
Okay.
Okay, I get brand names, probably bought the spot, whatever. But they changed, so it changed. Now you're not having your Jack Daniels whiskeys and bourbons in there. Instead, you know what they had on there? That I go in and I get it neat every time. As neat as, and I always say as neat as you can make it, because they have a rule they have to put at least one ice cube in it.
Okay.
All right. And I get there, they have Angel's Envy. So I get my Angel's Envy rye. I did discover, because of the Angel's Envy we had on the shelf from last week, that, a splash of Angel's Envy in the cup, stir it around, pour your Dr. Pepper into it.
Oh.
The rye, not the regular, the rye.
Right. Oh.
The rye and Dr. Pepper. Oh my God. Not a lot. Just enough to coat the glass.
So it's not even maybe a quarter ounce?
Not even. Yeah, not even a quarter ounce. And it spikes up the flavor of a Dr. Pepper like you wouldn't believe.
Okay.
I know you're not a soda drinker, but anyway.
No, but that doesn't matter. It's still,
but now you're going to be like, I got to go try that.
I might. Yeah, I remember one time I was, somebody gave me a drink and I'm like, what is this? And I was trying to figure out what it was. And I'm like, what the hell am I drinking? It tasted familiar, but I couldn't pinpoint it. And then it's like, it was a drink, but there was Coca-Cola in it.
Mm.
I had not touched Coca-Cola in like 5 years at that point. I was like, ow, they're like, well, there's Coke in there. And I was like, that's what it is. They were laughing. They're like, you're kidding. And I was like, no, I don't.
It's the Coke, man. It's
the
Coke.
I hadn't had it was in 2013 when I chose to stop drinking soda. And not that I drank that much soda, but I said, no soda, I'm fine. And I also chose to not go through drive-thrus. If it's that important, I'm gonna park the car, and walk it. And then COVID threw me off, because it's like, I'm not doing a drive-thru. Why would I do a drive-thru? No, I got it. No. And so that was like a little disruptive. I have done drive-thru, but usually it's for somebody else. And then one of the times we were at the drive-thru with Sean, and they're like, he goes, what do you want? I said, nothing. He said, I thought you wanted something. I said, not through the drive-thru. Nope, I'm fine. And I got nothing. I just, in my head, I can't. If it's for me, no. If it's for somebody else, I'll do it. But if it's for me, I got to get out and go inside and get it. I'm just weird that way. I'm
reminded whenever I think drive-thru, Lethal Weapon 3.
Oh my goodness! I know I saw that movie way back when.
It might have been Lethal Weapon 2, but I think it was Lethal Weapon 3.
Okay.
And Lethal Weapon 2 or 3, and it was Joe Pesci's character when they go to the drive-thru, right? And they come out and all the stuff's wrong, and all right, they F you at the drive-thru, and that became each movie after that he did. There was always something, you know what I mean? They screw you with whatever, right? Anyway,
that's such a funny movie.
Of course. Where else can you put action with comedy? Add Joe Pesci, and the last one had Chris Rock. They're making a new one.
Uh-huh.
They are making a new one.
Really?
I think it's going to be called. The subtitle is going to be "We're really too old for this."
No kidding. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like there's some classics there. Sometimes I see older movies and I'm like, oh my goodness, these actors were so young. It was like one of their first movies, not their first movie, but part of their first movies that they did, and you're looking at them like how young they were, and it's like, oh my goodness, and they were. I'm not good with names, but I was like, I don't know that I knew their names back then. I barely know their names now, but. Ooh, a little bit more of the pepper in there.
Yeah.
So I think that the rum really brings out the flavor of that creaminess of the cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
It just enhances the cheddar. And the chocolate enhances the rum.
And I got mustard on my sleeve.
I was going to say, is that mustard? And hence,
that's why I wear a black shirt, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Anyway.
Your dry cleaner must love you.
Yes, they do.
Well,
every week I get a bill from them. So anyway. Well, I've tasted it with everything.
I did too.
And it was such a small drink. I finished it out. All I'm doing is dripping I'm dripping the bottoms of it. That's it.
I think my favorite. I love the way the cheese paired with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a really natural, comfortable combination. It just went together hand in hand, no problem. The one that I was like very skeptical of. Skeptical.
Yeah, it was a spectacle. But anyway.
Yeah, I know. I'm always a spectacle. And was the chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Because the chocolate truly brought out the flavors of the rum.
Yeah.
I love that. That was like, whoa, not expecting this. The pretzel.
Well, the sweets, to me, all the sweets went with it well. And usually when you have sweets and sweets, it's an overpowering of sweets.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. The spice and the rum set it back so I wasn't overpowered with sweets.
And when you have a 70% cacao,
No.
that's kind of your, this is not a milk chocolate. It's not a white chocolate. It is a dark chocolate. I think this one was a 90%. Mm-hmm. So 70% and above. So it's not overly sweet, but it just brought out those beautiful, beautiful tones or undertones of the rum, brought them up.
Cool.
So I really enjoyed that. I still got more chocolate left, but me and my savory, that's my favorite. The pretzel with the mustard, that one was neutral. It was fine. There was nothing special about it. It was just fine. I could, it's not like, ooh, it has to go.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It didn't pop.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And that's the whole purpose of the show, is so we find stuff that pops. I'm still chewing on the caramel corn because it's caramel corn and sipping it is still giving me a great buzz.
And so this Diplomatico, it is from Venezuela. This is a premium dark rum. They state that it is ideal for mixing in cocktails while maintaining its complexity to drink neat.
Mm.
But yeah, this is definitely that it's been known in Venezuela for its sophisticated taste and the aromas of dried fruits, oak that revealed notes of vanilla and a delicate spiciness leading to a balanced and lightly dry finish. So that delicate spiciness, the chocolate brought it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the chocolate did, is that it brought out that spiciness. So this is, I'm trying to see the alcohol by volume. 40% alcohol by volume.
Okay.
So I like this. And they do consider it a dark sipping rum. Okay. So you can sip it, but they're also saying, hey, put it into your cocktail. And
who's the main distributor that comes out, and can people get it nationwide?
Oh yeah, it's imported by Distillerías Unidades in Healdsburg, California. Okay. So it is mainstream. You should be able to find it in most states, if not all states. And Vermont and Missouri, they have a redemption value on the bottle. So 2 of the states. Okay. But yeah, it should be mainstream. So it is Diplomatico.
Yep. And we'll put a link to it, guys, on the Facebook and the and Facebook channels and our Instagram channels.
Yeah, it's pretty yummy. And then tell us again which ones you.
I actually, because I had this sitting from something we were going to do a couple weeks ago, I got a little bit of Captain Morgan spiced. And I know when everybody talks about spiced rum, they're like, that's like the McDonald's of rum. All right. But still, when you're mixing a drink, it's just like if I'm mixing a bourbon, I'm not buying a $500 bourbon to mix in a drink. I'm buying that to drink by itself.
Right.
If I'm looking to mix something for the flavor and in a mixed drink, I'm looking for a Captain Morgan. I'm looking for a name brand that's going to be along the lower end.
A Sailor Jerry's, a Captain Morgan. You know, that even your Jim Beams and your Johnny Walkers.
Yes.
That level, because if you have a really good liquor, you don't want to mix it. I will tell you a story, and I may have shared it before. So one of Sean's cousins was visiting. This was during the summer. And I was coming home from work because we were going to go to the summer concert series here in Wilsonville. And so I walk in, and he's about to pour this delicious, expensive tequila into make a mixed drink. I don't know what he was doing. I can't remember if it was a margarita or something else, whatever it was. He's about to pour it. Right when I walk in, he's like, hey. And I said, what are you doing? And he literally stopped. And I'm like, what are you doing with that? And he's like, I'm going to make. And I said, oh, no. I said, you need to stop right there. I don't mind having it. We will sip this tequila. You can have your mixed drink. And here's I think it was a bottle of Patron that I had. Here's the Patron. Mix your drink with this. But for this, the Casa Noble, and it was not the Blanco, it was the Añejo. I'm like, you will drink it, you will sip it, you will enjoy it, but you will not put it into a mixed drink.
No,
and then like, okay. So it was kind of funny, but it was like deer in the headlights. Like, what are you doing? It's like, nope. Very particular. So yeah, you have your mixing alcohols, and then you have the ones you're going to sit and sip and enjoy for the next half hour, 20 minutes, whatever it is, you know.
Well, the only exception to that rule is Angel's Envy in an old fashioned.
I was about to say, unless you're having an old fashioned, you need some good shit in there. And that's why I went with Diplomatico and not just any. This one runs about $30.
Cool.
The other plantation that I was considering at a 70% proof, that one was $45. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. So sometimes if I'm not sure and it's not something I normally drink, I'll wait. I'll decide at what point do I want to spend $45. Because if I spend $10 more, I can get this other thing that I know I will like. So I went with what I knew. The other Diplomatico, the lighter one, this guy, I think this one was like 22, 24, somewhere around there. I can't remember. And then this one was in Oregon, 20, I think it was 28. So I'm rounding to 25, you know, because you don't know the states, but at least you'll get an idea. But I will have to try the plantation. The problem with some of these brands, though, is that they don't come in like smaller sizes.
Well, that's like me getting the Angel's Envy last week for the rye. It didn't come in a small size.
And
all right, and it was $100 for that bottle. But I know it's a alcohol that I will enjoy and drink. So
right, exactly.
Anyway, well,
so that's when you try it at a bar.
Yes,
try it at a bar.
Yeah, or you come to see if Tim and Gladys tested on their show.
We'll let you know what we think.
Yeah. All right. Pretty good show this week. All right. I got my full of a good drink, good food, good times. So that being said, there's two things we got to do before we get out of here. Number one is, of always, we're going to mention our Insiders Club. We have an Insiders Club, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can do fun things with you. You must be 21 to join. All right. It is free to join. You just must be 21. All right. And, anything that we offer for sale or offer for out, we have to be able to sell it to people over the age of 21. So in order to do that, the only way we're offering that is to our insiders. Good news is, all right, with the Insiders Club, so is we actually had a bar reach out to us to say, hey, would you guys come do an episode at our bar? Now, granted, it's in a town that neither of us live in.
I know. When he told me, I was like, yes. And then he goes, it's in. And I went, oh.
Yeah. It doesn't mean we haven't said yes, but we haven't said no yet. All right. Because who knows? If we go to this town, that may become our strong fan base. All right. So if you're part of the Insiders Club and if you are connected to a bar that has a fun atmosphere to it, all right, that you could invite us and we could maybe record an episode at your bar, right? Just saying.
You'll have some influence. You got to have influence and impact.
So, yeah, and this came about because of somebody I was doing work with on somebody else's website and stuff this past week. God, what was her name now? I forget her name. I think it was Katie was her name. I want to make sure I get it right because I got to give her credit for what Katie. Yeah, her name was Katie. All right. And I was doing work on somebody else's website with Katie. And I told her about the podcast, which I tell a lot of people about it. And they're always intrigued about what our podcast is about. And Katie went and listened and she learned what we did. All right. And literally was at her neighborhood bar because she used to be a bartender. She used to be in the service industry. And she reached out to me the next day. She goes, this bar likes what you do and would be interested. So, all right. And people, even our liquor stores, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, our liquor stores listen to our podcast because they get shout outs all the time. But that's just a bizarre way that things happen. So anyway, that's number one thing off our checklist. What's the next thing we got to do, Gladys?
Besides y'all going to likethewayyoudrink.com and sign up for the Insiders Club, if you haven't already, share it on YouTube, on Facebook. You know what? If you've gotten some good information, if you've laughed at our goofiness, if you like what we bring to you, please like our channels and share. We so appreciate it. It really helps us. But we bring this to you as business owners in Oregon and Texas. We're the ones that go out and sacrifice.
It's so rough. It's just so rough having to do this for you guys.
But we sacrifice our time and money to go get all of these things and bring them to you. So our businesses, we are the sponsors of this podcast. We enjoy it. We've been doing it for over 2 years. We're almost to episode 100. That is exciting. We will be doing some fun stuff. Please share that because we want to celebrate with all of you. Because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. I know we get the feedback and then sometimes we get direct messages on the side and it fills my heart. Here's my heart. So please, and we're doing this. Our businesses are our sponsors. So we will tell you who we are and what we do and why we're doing this for you. So I'm Gladys Boutwell. I am the owner of Insurance by Design. I'm in the state of Oregon. I help employers become the employer of choice, or at least an employer of choice based on their industry. I service Oregon, Washington, California. I'm trying to expand. I have friends that are like, hey, we need to connect. We need to do global. I'll get there at some point, but I enjoy truly Oregon, Washington, California. So if you are an employer and you say, hey, how can I provide employee benefits? Well, you know what? I will have to share because this is exciting. My book is about to come out. And because I'm the sponsor, I'm going to share it. My book, it's coming out. It is 101 creative ways to attract and retain quality staff. Mm-hmm. So if you want to know how you can do it, and what should have been under here is for all budgets. Some of these things are free. Some of them are pricey. You go traditional benefits, wellness, miscellaneous culture. There's a lot of different tidbits. I have these conversations with my clients every day. If you're an employer, you want to have the conversation, you want to find out, get on my calendar, go to Enroll Now Oregon. It doesn't matter if you're not in the state of Oregon. Let's have the conversation. I have people across the nation that can take care of your employees in your state. But just know my book is coming out. That's pretty exciting. I will keep you updated on that. And so I will pass it over to my co-host, Tim here.
Hey guys, Tim Gillette, Simple Easy Websites. We do websites. Basics, lead websites, lead generation, lead pages, 5-page template websites, and now we're doing custom websites, helping people out there get their business out online. We're not the greatest people when it comes to SEO or something like that, but recently we have actually discovered that some of our clients that we've done websites in the past year have jumped in rankings because of little tricks we did know that we can actually boost them up and let them be seen on the web right. All right. We don't play tricks. We don't play games. We actually do it right for you. So what I'm doing is on my website, I've actually got a thing in there called the Website Planner. All right. If you get that, then we got a thing coming out real now on how to build. We call it the Simple Easy Website. What do we call assembly line? All right. So actually, it's an assembly line process that anybody can write the content for their website in an evening. All right, including the AI prompts to go ask AI for how to revamp your content in the right way. So that's the next thing we've got coming out. It will be out here in the next few weeks, but go get the Simple Easy Website Planner on our website, simpleeasywebsites.com. That being said, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's another week.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening in. Let us know what you think about the Rum Old Fashioned and what you enjoyed having it with, because you got to like the way you drink.
You do. See you guys next week. Cheers.